Hey guys, it's me, your favorite person in the entire universe, and I'm here to tell you that after 3 weeks of being sold the fuck out, my book, The Douchebag Bible, is back. Check it out down below. Now, here is Howard Bloom with his unique take on the Miley Cyrus debacle.
I want to put in a good word for poor Miley Cyrus. Miley Cyrus went on the MTV Music Awards, which I have never seen in my life, and she did something I have never seen in my life called twerking. And ever since she did it, she has been decried, savage. People have thrown every kind of verbal stone at her they can. She has been, I wrote down some words here for it, denounced, belittled, denigrated, disparaged, condemned, despised, and railed against. Does Miley Cyrus deserve this? No, not a bit. Miley Cyrus has been in the entertainment business since she was a child. Her dad raised her with a name that told you from the beginning that he wanted her to be a fucking star. He called her Destiny Hope Cyrus. Try living up to that one. Miley Cyrus got your attention, maybe the attention of the world, by being Hannah Montana and representing the deepest dreams of every girl between the age of 10 and 12. To be able to go to school during the day with all of her friends and to be able to go out on stage at night and be a superstar and to bathe in the adulation and the attention of other people. Then a strange thing happened to Miley Cyrus after her Hannah Montana days. Biology grabbed hold of her body, and biology did strange things. It kept her tiny little waist. It expanded the size of her hips. It gave her an ass. It gave her these new things called breasts, and those breasts were high. And it gave her a smooth, youthful skin. Now, who put these things on Miley Cyrus's body? Was it males trying to gain a manipulative force over her in order to insert her as a commodity into the chain of commerce and thus profit off of her? Come on now. Did globalism and capitalism really give her breasts? No. Biology gave her breasts. And biology gave her a tremendous edge when it gave her these things. At the same time, it was producing a very strange psychology in the minds of young men her age, an obsession with tiny little waists, hips, asses, breasts. Why? Because biology depends on sexuality. It depends on our ability to create new kids and send them into the next generation. It depends on our ability to men to impregnate women, women to become pregnant. But it depends on something more. It depends on a savage, ghastly, hideous competition. A competition between young women to get the males they desire the most, and young men to get any women at all. Or, if they're really lucky, to get a woman they desire. That competition is fierce. And having a tiny little waist and having an ass and having breasts is part of what women have as the equipment to drive men crazy so they can get as many dozens, hundreds, or thousands of men competing with each other for their affections and their charms. Now, Miley Cyrus, when she developed hips, waist, breast, and a backside, could have regarded it in two different ways. A curse? A curse. Some power males could use to manipulate her for commercial gain, or a blessing, a gift, a power that she had over her fellow human beings. A power she had, in fact, to sustain something she had gained with Hannah Montana. The ability to fascinate and glue the attention of her fellow human beings. Did Miley Cyrus decide to throw these things away and thus be virtuous in some strange way? No. She decided on the real virtue, taking the powers biology gives you and using them to the max. using them to glue the attention of your fellow human beings. Why? Not just for your own sake. Your fellow human beings are built biologically with an obsession with tiny little waists, with flaring hips, with high breasts. And like dogs who are given a jaw and teeth, they need something to chew on. Now, they can do this in one of two different ways. In our ancient hunter-gatherer days, in the days of indigenous societies, when we were all supposedly living in tribes that knew how to live with nature and knew how to live in peace, how did we handle our obsession with tiny little waists and high breasts? Easy. We went to the village next door with our weapons, tried to kill as many men as possible, and tried to make off with their wives and their daughters, the ones with the tiny little waists and the high breasts. We killed a lot of people. Today, thanks to Western society, thanks to commercial society, thanks to capitalist society, thanks to patriarchal society, thanks to post-agricultural and post-industrial society, we have 9 times the rate of peace that we had back then in our indigenous tribal days. Why? Because instead of going to the village next door with our weapons and trying to kill as many men as possible so we can make off with their daughters and their wives, we obsess on young women who are just developing those tiny little waists and hips and high breasts for the first time. We obsess on girls like Miley Cyrus. And guess what? It allows us to chew on these things the way that a dog chews on a rawhide without killing anybody. Miley Cyrus is doing us an enormous favor. And guess what? 90% of us manage to obsess on Miley Cyrus's tiny little waist and hips and smooth skin and high breasts by deriding, denigrating, degrading, and supposedly despising her. Why? Because it gives us cover. It lets us say, oh no, we're not obsessing on Miley, somebody else is. No, that's our way of keeping Miley's sexual come-on signals given to her by biology and evolution in our mind as many waking seconds of the day and night as we can, and going to every headline we can find and every picture that will show us this thing we allegedly despise. Come off it. We are built as sexual creatures. Miley Cyrus is doing us a favor, and Miley Cyrus is taking command of her own life, and Miley Cyrus is indulging herself in one of the greatest highs we humans ever have, gaining the attention of our fellow human beings. And guess what? Those of us who attend are gifted and liberated by being able to obsess on a gorgeous young naked body for as many seconds as we can in the course of a busy day. Thank Miley Cyrus. Do not despise her. This is Howard the Humongous speaking to you from the future that it is your job and my job to make.